who commentated for us last week in Columbus, to great success, I must say, that he also has activated a Charbelcher now and again.
Yeah. Cedric loves getting people with maybe the lesser played strategies of a format. Charbelcher, Kithkin come to mind. But here we go. These two players shuffling up, getting ready to play now. They reviewed each other's deck lists. They're ready. We're ready.
As you say, Reid Duke higher in the Swiss. Now he gets to choose to be on the play.
Seems like a pretty good decision for Legacy.
I remember at, I believe, Star City Games Los Angeles Open for Legacy, one of the Reanimator players making the crazy, on my mind, call of drawing. And he did that pretty much all tournament, made it to the top 8, and just wanted that extra discard outlet.
Wow. You know, that's something we've seen Dredge players do in the past. Reanimator, like you said. And really, it's not that bad of a strategy. Under the right circumstances.
I mean, I feel a little dubious about it, but I have not played enough of the reanimation strategy to know whether I'm just instinctually going there. Delver from Matt Costa. And no turn 1 play from Reid Duke.
Reid Duke on his turn 2 right now. Trying to figure out which land drop to make here. And the reason you'll hear us being a little quieter was just like last night, just like this morning, the hall has mostly cleared out right now. And if we talk too loudly, the players can hear us, and that's not good. We don't want to be spoiling Reid Duke's hand right now.
Right.
He wouldn't like that much.
A underground C from Reid Duke. And we see, there's the Entomb.
So this is during his main phase, wants to play around as many counters as he possibly can from Matt Costa. Specifically Spell Pierce.
Matt Costa's Rug Delver deck here is one of the Stifleless Rug Delver decks, which I think has become the more prominent strain of this deck recently. Force of Will from Matt Costa, discarding a second Delver of Secrets.
Yep, Matt Costa drops to 19 there.
We might see a Daze here from Reid Duke.
Oh, Reid Duke would love to have a Daze.
Well, Force of Will is not as good, but still good.
Yep.
I'm not sure what he's discarding.
Nope, Reid Duke knows he has to fight over this Entomb. Has to get his Gristlebrand in the graveyard. Or, you know, in the case of this matchup, it might just be a Sphinx of Steelwind. Protection from red, protection from green. Lifelink, First Strike, Vigilance. Nope.
Gristlebrand. Gristlebrand is practically untouchable by Rug Delver.
Right. The only reason he might not want to get Gristlebrand is if he can't reanimate it right away, because reanimate will cost him 8 life, and that Delver can take chunks combined with a Lightning Bolt or 2, could just end the game. But Reid feels pretty safe right now. He gets the Gristlebrand.
Can see a small smattering of Twitter talk going on, tweets galore about the young players Reid and Costa. People like, for example, Pat Cox, who has gotten a ton of Star City Games Open Series success, saying, no idea who to root for here.
Right.
Reanimate now.
Wow, resolves.
Gristlebrand.
So Reid Duke on the play, hugely important. We see Costa there, Spell Pierce in hand. If he had finished higher in the Swiss, this game would be completely different.
With this, I'm going to say there is very little opportunity for Matt Costa to win this.
Yeah.
Matt Costa is going to attack with that Delver into the Gristlebrand, or what? I mean, he can basically double burn to kill the Gristlebrand if Reid lets him, if he blocks.
Right.
But Reid is going to block, because why not block?
Well, he has to block.
Yeah.
Or else he's dead.
Is Reid that low?
Well, if he took the 3 And Matt Costa indeed had double bolt.
Oh, yeah.
just because of the dome.
But he's not sad to do that double block. That's where I'm going. Or, sorry,
Oh, right,
that block.
right.
I mean, he does the block, he gains the life, and if Matt puts all of that effort into killing off the Griselbrand, well, Reid will have gained the life and then just be able to draw 7 and do the same thing again, almost certainly in the next moment.
Right.
And just the pass. That's it. There's nothing that Matt can do to come back in this game.
Right. Costa did ponder. He saw 2 burn spells, so now his hand lightning bolt with a forked bolt on top. All this shouldn't matter too much, though, because Reid Duke goes up to a healthy 16.
Well, apparently we have spectators all around the world. Nadja Antonova, former Madison resident, now back in Russia. She's watching this match, about to play Delver herself. I imagine that might be a call for her to say that she also is a Delver fan and perhaps a Costa fan. I don't know. If you had to pick Reid Duke or Matt Costa,
Oh, I couldn't do it.
it's a hard call. Pat Cox couldn't do it. You can't do it.
No.
I think that. Wonder if Jerry T has a favorite. Jerry T, you out there? Let us know.
So Reid Duke, casting Careful Study here, trying to find yet more protection, discarding Angel of Despair, and now he's casting an Exhume. Insult to injury, but that'll get dazed.
Will it?
Maybe.
And Reid's like, I guess that's fine.
Yeah. Reid will not be paying any life here. He cannot afford to go down to less than 3. Now, really unfortunate for Matt Costa that he didn't hit another land off that ponder, because if he did, Reid Duke would be close to dead.
Reid at 6. Matt could bolt him to 3.
Right.
And then Reid just undoes it all with one single attack.
Yep.
And there it is, the attack.
Matt Costa 5, Reid Duke 13.
Practically reversing their life totals.
Yep.
2 more mana, another Exhume.
Oh boy. And we'll see what Matt Costa can do about this
Thought Scour.
himself. No, Forked Bolt, Lightning Bolt. Trying to hit a creature, trying to hit a chump blocker, trying to hit anything.
It works.
Angel of Despair
Angel.
kills the Volcanic, and now Matt Costa is dead. He scoops him off.
There they go. Now, Reid Duke up 1-0.
Yeah, he's 1 game away from becoming the champion of Star City Open Worcester.
That's right.
And if you're just joining us, I'm Zach Hall, here with Adrian Sullivan.
Hello.
And we have been watching some awesome Magic
That's
all
absolutely
weekend
right.
here in Massachusetts, up in the Northeast, where, I might be a little biased. I'm from here, but I think the quality of play in this region is among the highest in the world.
Well, I mean, there's a huge legacy for great play in this area.
Yeah.
Your Move Games is one of the reasons that that's the case. But not so far away is New York City.
Right.
New York City with Neutral Ground is one of those
Exactly.
other areas that is a bastion of excellent play.
Yep,
But,
I'm sure you've heard of TJ Collectibles too. Huge store
absolutely,
in the area.
absolutely. And I mean, this whole area is so dense with people
Yeah.
that it's just hard not to have a lot of talent show up throughout the eras of Magic. We
Yeah.
can see that from the beginning all the way through till now. And so, besides this first game where we have Reid Duke up 1-0 over Matt Costa, one of you out there can win.
Yeah.
Now, what the prize is that we're going to be giving away is the Gen Con badge. This is 4 days of Gen Con badge-age. I can't speak right now.
Gen Con baggage.
I can't speak. It's been a long weekend. We've been working here since 8 a.m. local, so we've been here 14 hours today. Pretty tired. I know you're pretty tired. The players on the other side of the room, they're probably even more tired.
Matt Costa has played the most rounds of Magic today. Almost possible to be played this weekend. He's 1 match short.
Yeah, that's right. So the question that I'm going to ask for those of you who are interested in getting the Star City Games premium prize of the 4-day Gen Con badge, please only enter into this if you can actually go to Gen Con. If you can't go to Gen Con, don't take the badge away from someone else. Only enter if you can go to Gen Con.
Exactly.
So here is the question.
Ooh, I'm excited.
What, and this might be a hard one, if you've been watching all weekend, you probably know. What American player playing in this weekend made level 50 mage today?
Ooh, okay,
level
that
50
is a hard one.
Planeswalker.
Yep.
As of today, here at the Star City Games
50,000
Open Series,
Planeswalker points.
now level 50. What player became a level 50 Planeswalker
Archmage.
today. He was already an Archmage.
Okay,
Now he's a level 50 Archmage.
And you know, this is a tough one, so I'm going to give you guys a
Oh,
hint.
are you sure you want to give him a hint?
Well, I'm
Okay, I'll let you do it.
How to find
I gave them a hint too before.
If you're not sure about this one, if you have no idea, you can look up the Planeswalker point page, maybe do a little research.
Do a little bit of research,
exactly.
Yeah, maybe make sure you get this right.
Right.
As of today, a new level 50 mage joins the ranks.
Exactly. And now the important part, just like with before, you have to use this hashtag right there, SCG Premium, otherwise you won't be entered. Make sure you say that player's name, and one player who gets the correct answer will be chosen at random for this 4-day Gen Con badge.
I mean, I couldn't be happier. I remember this player playing a deck of mine a long time ago, messing up with the finals of a PTQ, not quite making it to the Pro Tour at the time, and now he's a level 50 Planeswalker. Yeah. Wow.
So now, Reid Duke, Matt Costa having a joke there. They're both friends. They're happy to be here.
Jerry Thompson weighing in. He says he loves them both, but he's rooting for Reid Duke.
Matt Costa on your left, Reid Duke on your right. Reid Duke up a game and is so close to becoming a champion. Let's see how the players are going to sideboard here. We have actually already seen Reid Duke sideboard in action a few times here. He has Pithing Needles, he has Echoing Truths, he has Show and Tells, Tormod's Crypts, Perishes, Massacres, a Blazing Archon, and an Elesh Norn. Well, right off the bat, I have to think we'll see an Elesh Norn. I think that is a better sideboard card for him than perhaps the Angel.
Yeah, make sure we bring our voices down a little bit too. We are definitely carrying. I'm not 100% sure on the Elesh Norn. I mean, it definitely does a lot of work in weakening everything, but isn't the Elesh Norn kind of, in many ways, trumped by Blazing Archon? Or do you use the Elesh Norn as your second Blazing Archon?
You know, I'm actually not sure, because all these fatties serve slightly different purposes. The Angel we saw that game took out the Volcanic Island. Sphinx of the Steelwind can provide some much-needed life gain. Blazing Archon can lock up a game that you just need to not be attacked by. So, you know, really all of them have a purpose. Not really sure. He has Pithing Needles. I don't imagine we'll see that one. That doesn't do a heck of a lot. Can shut off a fetch land, but that's not what he's looking to do in this matchup. Echoing Truth, again, it doesn't seem like it's what he wants to be doing. Other than that, there's really not a lot. He could sideboard in Tormod's Crypts to neuter the Tarmogoyf, neuter the Mongoose, but
I don't think that's going to happen at all. That's just too narrow.
Very good. The only card I really see Reid Duke slam dunk definitely bringing in are the two Perishes.
Really, you know, I actually don't have a problem with Echoing Truth as a possible card for Reid Duke, and the big reason is not only can he use it as a means to potentially get a semi-fog, but he can use it to do end-of-turn Echoing Truth on a Tormod's Crypt, and then also put something in the yard and then win.
Right.
So we've got the game underway now. Turn 1, it's a draw, discard, Gristlebrand.
Wow. So Reid Duke using the Dredge technology, but he won't be happy to see the Spell Pierce that's flipping his Delver. So Matt Costa, exactly the opening he wanted. Turn 1, Wild Nacatl with Flying. Insectile Aberration, and as Matt Costa has done so many times in the past, he's putting on the pressure from turn 2 onward.
Well, now he's in a classic aggro control role. Here's his clock, here's his counters.
Yep, and now it's just a question of whether Reid Duke can combo out in time. Here we go, we have a Delta, dropping Reid Duke to 19.
Swamp. In previous matches this tournament, we've seen Reid Duke get his dual lands, and he's getting those lands in those other matches because there's no fear. There's no fear for Wasteland, but Matt Costa has Wasteland, so he has to be a little bit more careful.
Right.
Thoughtseize to try to clear the way.
And we'll see what Costa does about this. At the very least, it'll meet a Spell Pierce. And now this hall absolutely silent as the spectators give the players some respect. Want to watch the masters at work.
Another player out there watching at home, Captain Nintendo, who just won previously, He's a Matt Costa fan. Who are you a fan of out there? Give us a tweet at SCG Live. Add on that hashtag SCGMA. Let us know. Do you want Matt Costa to win with Rug Delver, or do you want Reid Duke to win with Reanimator?
Yep, and the Thoughtseize does get dazed. Ooh, Tormod's Crypt from Matthew Costa. So he seems to have all the answers this game. Delver, Crypt, Daze, and Spell Pierce in hand. Reid Duke already at 13.
That is difficult to handle 5 cards in play from Matt Costa.
Yeah. And now the Nimble Mongoose joins Costa's side of the board. He has 4 cards in his graveyard, can put a 5th one there on command with that Tormod's Crypt. Going to be really tough for Reid Duke as he's 2 to 3 swings away from death.
Reanimate.
Yeah, and you know, this will bring him down to 5. So if Matt Costa has 2 burn spells, he'll be in very good shape here. Alternatively, if he doesn't, he'll be able to use the Crypt. Ricky Hayashi tweets in, he's rooting for Reid Duke because he's playing, quote, not Delver. Also, the bowl cut owns.
Ah, Ricky.
It does. I've had the bowl cut for many years in my youth.
Force of Will. Mana open.
So Matt Costa not falling for the bait, does not use his Crypt. He'll use that as a measure of last resort.
Brainstorm from Reid Duke. That works.
Yep, and now Reid firmly on the back foot here.
That Reanimate is still something that is threatening to push Tormod's Crypt into the graveyard for Matt Costa.
Right. So even if Reid Duke can find a counter for this Force of Will, the Crypt will eat up that Gristlebrand. And Reid Duke will be in the same position he was before, except at 6 less life and without a reanimation target in the graveyard. So Reid Duke trying to put the puzzle together here, trying to figure out what he can do to stay in this game.
If you're just joining us at home, I'm Adrian Sullivan, and I'm joined in the booth by Zach Hall. We're watching Game 2 of the semifinals. The Force of Will that Reid Duke is pushing here is fighting over a Reanimate that ultimately can be stopped by a Tormod's Crypt, but he needs to get that Tormod's Crypt off of the board.
And there's the Crypt. Matt Costa now with 6 in the yard, 1 away from threshold.
I think we're going to see threshold right now. Well, maybe not. Yep, probably.
Yep, Ponder
there it
from
is.
Costa.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The magic number.
If Matt Costa just gets a single piece of disruption here, it's unlikely that Reid Duke would be able to accomplish what his deck does.
Definitely. Also important to note, this attack phase will bring Reid Duke below 9 life, meaning it'll have to be an Exhume. Costa looking to force a Game 3.
It seems very likely to me that we're going to go to one.
Yep, Reid Duke will have to pull off a very specific string of cards to stay in this one.
Down to 6.
It'll all have to start with a careful study from Reid Duke. Entomb would also work.
And let's see if if both Reid has it and Matt has nothing after that Ponder. I don't think he shuffled.
No.
That's bad news for Reid.
Very, very bad. The best Reid could hope for is something like a lightning bolt.
And I don't know if that goose does anything there. Reid draws.
Would love to be able to careful study into a Blazing Archon right here. Sphinx of Steelwind would work too.
Ponder.
Ooh, Ponder, not what he needs.
Shuffle.
Shuffle those. At this point, I'm not sure what else he has. Not sure. any way he can stave off death here. But if there is, he's going to try and find it.
Reid, waiting for this shuffle, for the random card, scoops it up.
Yep. So Matt Costa holds serve, takes game 2.
And we saw exactly here how Rug Delver plays out. Just classic aggro control style. The Tormod's Crypt acting like an effective counterspell against the Reanimate. And he was not going for a quick rush. He wasn't trying to be like kill you, kill you, kill you, kill
Right.
you, like a pure aggro deck would be doing. Instead, puts down the clock, puts through the time control elements, and unfortunately for Reid Duke, all of the pieces were there so that Reid couldn't push through.
Yeah, the Tormod's Crypt was the most important part because that's effectively uncounterable. Costs 0 and just stays in play.
Yeah, on the play. Did he drop that on turn 2 for the Tormod's Crypt, or was that a turn 3 Tormod's Crypt?
I think he found it with something like a turn 2 Ponder.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now, of course, the Tormod's Crypt sitting in play is open game for a potential Echoing Truth from Reid Duke, but we don't know if Reid brought those in or not. I think that's probably a good call, but, I mean, unfortunately, when you have a deck as tight as Reanimator, other than a couple of the targets that are perhaps a little bit more loose, it's hard to decide which cards to keep in.
Right. And there you see the players, Matt Costa specifically, looking at his opponent's deck list, trying to figure out how Reid Duke sideboarded. Because that game we saw none of the likely sideboard cards. We saw no Perish, no Echoing Truth, no Elesh Norn. So he is still left guessing here.
Nathan Holt live tweeting the match. You lucky enough to be able to actually watch it. Okay,
so with
look
Reid
at.
Duke on the play, who do you think the game favors here?
Well, I mean, it's clearly a huge advantage to be on the play here. Both these players, you know, I would be completely unsurprised if they have chosen to split and they're just playing for the glory here. Both smiling, both jovial with each other and with the little remaining crowd of their friends that are around. Our intrepid reporter Glenn Jones sitting on the sidelines, computer handy, trying to get all of the details down so that we can have this for posterity in the text coverage. Remember, you can always check out that text coverage on the SCG website. So don't forget about that text coverage where we have interviews,
Right.
we have deck techs,
Other matches.
other matches, absolutely.
Yep, and all that brought to you by Glenn Save Our Ship Jones. That's his nickname.
These players, these players here having a good time, laughs all around, and Reid Duke here on the play. I mean, I have to imagine that Reid is really glad that his tie breaks put him just a smidge above Matthew Costa, because being on the play, I don't know how much of a boost it is, but it's certainly a boost.
Yeah, definitely. The ability to threaten that turn 2 reanimation spell is just huge. It means
Yeah.
Costa can never safely tap out, not even turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is that Reid can absolutely drop a turn 1 Entomb with no fear of Daze or Spell Pierce from Matt Costa.
Right. Now, I would expect Matt Costa to more aggressively mulligan this game, to go looking specifically for one of those 3 Tormod's Crypts, because he has to have some very low mana
Yeah.
plays.
And the other thing that Matt Costa is fortunate enough to have in this matchup is, by the nature of how his deck works, he'll often win a game with a couple of cards left in his hand. You know, Force of Will notwithstanding as a means that sucks down his hand, he can mulligan down and, you know, with the power of a Delver and a Tarmogoyf, be able to get a really strong beatdown in from very few cards. So.
Right, exactly. All he needs is one creature.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the creature he does not want to have is he does not want to have a turn 1 Nimble Mongoose as his creature. That card is not likely to put any pressure on for any length of time, but, you know, it will eventually. You know,
Right.
turn 3, turn 4 start doing that.
Yep, the players very friendly, wishing each other good luck before this last game. Now, do you think Matt sided any Tarmogoyfs out here? It's certainly a slow card in the matchup.
You have to have some kind of creatures doing some beatdown.
Right.
You know, like...
Especially on the draw, though, it's tough. Tough to ever tap out for a Tarmogoyf.
I mean, if you just take out your creatures, you start becoming a control deck practically, and
Right.
You know, that's just not where you want to be.
Yeah, the later the game goes, the worse cards like Spell Pierce and Daze get. So Reid with only a fetch land says go, but again, threatening that Entomb.
Volcanic Island from Matt Costa.
Now, this is the conundrum for him. What does he do? Does he play his Delver? Does he hold up counter magic?
I think you have to do the clock. I mean,
I think so too.
you have to put the clock down and then follow it up.
And now Reid, maybe thinking about responding, maybe thinking about trying to daze this Delver. We'll see what he does here.
If there's no clock on the table, just the amount of time that Reid has to set things up is just a particularly fortunate thing for him. So
Right, so Reid Duke fetching up basic Swamp. This means that there's no daze in his hand, unless, of course, he's trying to bait one from Matt Costa.
there's the days.
Yep. Now, if Reid Duke had a daze, he would have gotten an Underground Sea to try and daze back.
Now, Reid could have just dropped that daze on his own turn 1, but he did not do so, either because he's looking to bait or because he was afraid of a Tormod's Crypt stopping all of the work he did.
Right. Matt Costa will shuffle that up. Reid Duke now has a turn where Matt Costa, the only counterspell available to him is Force of Will.
Flooded Strand. Second Entomb.
Now, wouldn't this be an amazing play if Reid Duke actually had daze in his hand? Purposely fetches up the
Gristle.
Swamp. Makes Matt Costa think he doesn't have it. That's certainly a play Reid's capable of.
Oh, absolutely. Gristlebrand. Is Gristlebrand going to be the second coming of Necropotence?
Ooh. So Matt
Look
Costa
at this.
blind flips Delver, turn 2, for the second time in a row. I can see why he had such a good winning percentage with it.
I feel like they were joking with each other about this earlier, too, when we were outside.
That's right, that's right. Dave Shields was telling Matt Costa, in our match, you never didn't flip turn 1 Delver.
That's right. Delver in for 3. Reid Duke at 16. These two players playing this final game for the championship here of the Star City Games Legacy Series in Worcester.
That's right. This is the last game. All comes down to this. Reid Duke was on the play, and in my opinion, he had a bit of a matchup advantage. But after board, that might not be true.
Basic Island. That's a Ice Age island there. Kind of a classic one.
Yeah. You know, Reid Duke might be a new player, but he has some old lands.
We're going to see where Reid's going to go from here.
Yep.
One of the real strengths of Rug Delver is the amount of resistance it can put up against more complex decks with so few mana. With Force of Will, Daze, Spell Pierce.
That's right.
Here we're going to see potentially a huge fight. Potentially.
Matt
Spell
Costa,
Pierce.
Spell Pierces.
Daze. And we're having a stack created out there in the center by Reid.
Oh, yeah.
Daze resolves.
Exhume
resolves.
Wow.
Oh,
So
boy.
Matt Costa caught without a Force of Will.
This time around, Matt Costa has. That's it. I'm gonna say that. I'm calling the patient dead at 11:36 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Wow. You know, Matt Costa still has some fight in him. He might be able to somehow burn down this Gristlebrand. Again, you know, like we said, very small percentage that the opponent doesn't have force of will, but he has to at least try. Griselbrand swings in. Matt Costa goes to 13. Reid Duke up to 23.
And then we see the 7 cards show up.
Reid Duke plays a careful study. Again, just manipulating the deck a little more. Trying to make sure that he doesn't lose to any sort of triple bolt shenanigan.
Triple bolt on 1 red.
Yeah, unlikely, but it's to make sure this one's locked up.
Unless Reid Duke can somehow get a forest into play, and Matthew Costa can somehow find a submerge in his deck, I don't see Reid Duke losing it from here.
Yeah, Matt Costa will also have to donate a tropical island to Reid to cast the submerge. Just not looking good. Matt Costa thought scours himself, looking for an answer.
Funny things on the Twitterverse. Nathan Holt of Walk the Plains talking about his love for Ice Age lands, and Jerry Thompson already cheering for Reid Duke.
Runs the gamut from relevant to not.
I don't know. I think that Jerry's cheering has some relevance.
Oh, exactly. So Matt Costa casting Ponder, desperately looking for an answer. He's shaking his head, though. He knows that this one's all but over. Matt Costa, just a bridesmaid in this tournament, made top 4 earlier today. Finals here. The win is eluding him, though.
He is going to have to settle for a mere $1,800 this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I seem to recall there was a time where that would rival a Grand Prix win.
Yeah. What was a Grand Prix win worth back then? 23? 21?
22,
like
I
that?
want to think.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Now an independent tournament series awards more money than a Grand Prix used to. Crazy.
And here is a Nimble Goose. And we see a Exhume.
Taking no chances is Reid Duke.
So many cards available to read. We see the Force of Will.
Matt Costa, that will not be good enough, because here is another Force from Reid. Force right back. Elesh Norn
Oh,
going
look
to
at
come
this.
into play.
Pyro, or sorry, Red Elemental Blast. And Matthew knows that that's it.
The
And
game.
Reid Duke
is your champion, winner of Star City Games Open in Worcester. Congratulations, Reid.
Congratulations, Reid.
You know, we've seen him on camera something like 4 times today.